Good day, everyone. Welcome to Anna Ban Hoffman's YouTube channel. I am sure I am slaughtering your name. One day I will learn it. Is today the day? Are you going to teach me how to say your name properly?
Is that going to be the intro? Sure.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that as an intro.
You're saying my first name right now, Anna.
Anna?
But it's like Ban. It's like a long A sound in Ban. Ban Hoffman.
Anna Ban Hoffman.
Yeah.
All right. We're in the zone there now. Today's is a special topic. We had a little shorty. Some of you might have watched it already. It's all about ELDOA. What is ELDOA? What is it to you? What are its benefits? What is this mysterious ELDOA that everybody's talking about? Well, this video, if you've ever had that question, it's for you. You will discover myriad of things. And we have an ELDOA specialist, a passionate person. She's incisive, she's precise, she's descriptive, she's fun. She's a yoga instructor. She's an all-around enthusiast about life and its many mysteries. Anna Ban Hoffman.
Thank you.
How are you doing today?
What did you say at the end? Sorry?
How are you doing today, Anna? You ready to talk ELDOA?
Definitely. I'm great.
So first, I think the question I have for you is what is ELDOA and why is it always written in all caps? Why is it always all caps all the time? It's a little bit annoying, but I still love it. Tell me why.
It screams at you the whole time.
Yes, it's so loud.
So it's an acronym. It's a French acronym. And it translates to loads in English. So then I'll give you the words that go with it. So it's longitudinal, osteoarticular decoaptation stretches. So I'll go again.
That sounds like a tongue twister. It's like, try to say that 10 times fast.
In French, it's even worse, like étirement, longitudinal, décoaptation osteoarticulaire. Yeah, which is, for me, more of a tongue twister.
Yes, indeed.
So longitudinal means lengthwise, the spine in this case. The O for osteo means bone. Articular means articulation, like joint. So two bones kind of meeting together. Decoaptation, that's a word that the person who invented ELDOA invented, the word. Decoaptation is different than decompressing. It's really like creating space in between. And then stretches means stretches, which I think is pretty.
Wait, so how is that different from decompressing?
That's a good question that I don't quite have the words for. I feel like compression means that it's already compressed, that there's like...
Could it be like, let's say, the distinction between a passive and an active version of creating space? Whereas if you decompress, like the idea could be you get a massage that creates some space, or you lie on your back and then there's this kind of passive space created, where decoaptation, it's kind of an active thing where you're actively making a movement that will kind of create that space?
No, I don't think it's per se active versus passive.
All right, we'll have to come back on that. It seems like there's a good question there.
Yeah, there's a good question. And I do know the answer somewhere, but not on the front of my brain right now.
All right, that's cool. That's what we're here for, to ask interesting questions. If you like that question, you want to know more about it, then you should write in the comments and give us a thumbs up while you're at it. All right, so I mean, the things you described, it sounds like a very specific modality, but I mean, what is different about ELDOA compared with other stuff? I mean, lots of other practices also address all of these issues. So what's special about ELDOA? Why should we care?
So then I go a little bit more back to like the history of where it comes from. So it's developed by an osteopath, a French osteopath. So his mindset is, or his way in is osteopathy. So I feel a lot of other modalities come from maybe other perspectives. His osteopath perspective.
What's his name? The founder?
Guy
Voyer.
Yeah. He works, or I like to break it down in like three different things. Like there's fascia, like your connective tissue. There is like the anatomy of the spine that you really work with. And there is hydration. Like those three elements are, I usually use to explain what it is. But like in short, what we already also did in a 1-minute video for people just watching this, there are postures. There are postures that you'd hold with your body to create tension in your connective tissue, in your fascia, that connect to specific levels of your vertebrae in your spine. And through the stretching of your connective tissue in that very specific way, you create space. and that creating space, that decoapting, I think the sponge example is the best thing. Like if you have one vertebra and then another vertebra, and in between is the disc,
Mm-hmm.
and the disc is able to absorb liquid, say water. It's not like regular water, but say water. That disc gets like during the day or during our lifespan gets smaller, like water kind of goes into the bone, into the vertebra. And then when we are decoapting, we're creating that space again so that the water from the discs goes back into, the water from the vertebrae goes back into the disc. So it's like it does that again. So it sponges up. And so therefore you create more space. I mean, we're not even talking about a millimeter here, but you can really feel it.
See that? I find that fascinating because you sent me some useful links before our chat today so I could catch up and inform myself, including an article on your website, which will be in the comments below or in the little description paragraph. And I find that really fascinating that it's the first modality I see that highlights hydration as an integral part of its method. You know, if you do Pilates or you do yoga or CrossFit, they're never at any point being like, well, integral to you doing this, you know, this Olympic weight lift or whatever is going to be hydrating your spinal discs. Like nobody mentions that as a thing, but ELDOA does mention hydration. So I love that nuance. Can you tell us even more about that nuance? You started already, but what is it about hydration that's important? You talked about fascia too, and maybe can you give us a little, paint a little bit of a clearer picture around those two things?
Yeah. So yeah, hydration and fascia are connected. So because we're working with the stretching of your fascia, fascia, you can see fascia as it's like a living organism in our body. Like it changes shape. It can be really dry if you're dehydrated. You can think of it as like leather. Mm-hmm. Or it can be more, you know, when you fresh pasta and you put some olive oil on it and you put in your colander and it like just slides in your colander.
I just have this image now of this like blob-like thing called fascia that looks like spaghetti living inside of me, symbiotic, waiting to eat me. Like, what is fascia? Tell us, because it's scary.
Well, it's more like a webbing. That's why I did this first. It's a webbing. It's a webbing that goes through your entire body. Yeah. It goes over your muscles, goes through your muscles, it goes around your bones, through your bones even. And I like that there's like Tom Myers, one fascia guy, he says it goes through your organs as well. But Guy Voyer, the person who developed ELDOA, he doesn't mention that it goes through the organs. He says it envelopes the organs. Mm-hmm. So there's some, like it's still in development, like what it is. But what everybody agrees on is that there's different layers of fascia and that it connects everything in your body with everything else. Like, yeah, there's no boundary. But
if you're interested in body work, you should really be looking at fascia because, or if you're teaching alpha, it's such a fascinating component of movement of bodies.
You mean fascianating? It's so silly.
That's what we love, Anna. Keep them coming.
No, but why I was talking about the spaghetti and the leather, maybe I was going a bit too fast, is because your fascia can move, it can change shape, and it can connect differently to different parts of your body. Mm. So that's what we're trying to do through the ELDOA, because we want to stretch it. We want to create space in the body. So if your fascia is dehydrated, if you are dehydrated, your fascia is dehydrated. So if you think about stretching a leather string, for example, it's more easy to even tear, or like it's harder to stretch it. It doesn't go that easily. If you think more of like what's that stuff called? Like the putty clay, is that how you call it?
Yeah, putty, sure.
Yeah. If you pull that apart, it gives, and you can go quite far, and it's pretty strong to like pull that apart. So if you're hydrated, your fascia will move easier, and your body will integrate the changes easier than if you're dehydrated.
Right. One thing that kind of was wondering about when I was reading through the material is that this is a system, it's founded by one person. And my personal, like, I'm always fascinated about these single founder systems because I love the creativity. I love the originality. They're personal. but sometimes it feels like it can be a little bit like it's not comprehensive, like it's not something it's more anecdotal than comprehensively researched. It's not a system that has really been tried by time. So what about this system is you feel like tried and true and like proven? And what are aspects of it that still need some more research, still need some more exploration?
Tried and true is it's not probably not the right word, but the one that comes to mind is like the comfort, the ease that you feel in your body,
Mm-hmm.
the structure of your spine being able to hold itself in the place where it should be, and not just the bones, but also like all the muscles that attach to it. I noticed that after I do the ELDOA, after doing the ELDOA on a regular basis, my muscles or even my shoulder blades, which is like a thing for me, they wing less, and all of a sudden they go into the position where they're supposed to. That's more functional for them to be in. So
And
it doesn't just pertain to the spine, but it kind of goes.
mm-hmm. Yeah, and I've tried them as well. Like you've given me an ELDOA class. Even my partner Jen, she's done it too. She's taught me some ELDOA, and I can say anecdotally that yes, these are very interesting, very surprisingly challenging, even modalities to explore. And then, what would you say are things that what's on sort of the cusp for ELDOA? What's the brave new world that ELDOA is exploring that has a lot of potential for the method that maybe isn't as concrete yet?
Well, I just want to add one more thing, because like herniated discs and like people who have any disc issues, it's great for that too. Although I'm not somebody who's experienced that myself. But like if you are dealing with a herniated disc, but you're outside of the acute pain zone,
Mm-hmm.
that's like you are creating that space, so that bulging, that bit of disc that's sticking out, that can come back in again, which is like even bigger, I feel, than just feeling good in your body. That's like actually dealing with like injury.
Mm.
Things to explore more. It's funny because somebody actually messaged me today about scoliosis and ELDOA, but it's something that I'm just not so very familiar with.
Yeah.
And like I can imagine that if your spine doesn't like has a curve in it, like to the side, just like an exaggeration, well, it can be like that, but if you go above and below and you create space there, and then there's a chance that this will go further back to center. But like place for exploration, yeah, I think it's more to do with how the fascia attaches to certain parts of the body that I feel they might change their mind in. So the positioning of your arms or your legs, maybe
Mm-hmm.
that will change a little bit over time.
Yeah.
Though it seems to be very thoroughly thought through. But yeah, I can see that maybe something might develop there once we also get more knowledge about, oh, this is how this connects and this is how this connects.
And that's
Again,
usually the case with systems like this. They need to achieve a certain mass of practitioners before you can kind of find the general rules. Although I find that with ELDOA, their simplicity makes them very accessible movements, which is nice, especially if you have some moderate discomfort or pain.
yeah.
There are things you can try, and there's certain variations of it that don't require you to like jump on a trampoline or lift a really heavy weight or touch your toes or do a downward dog, which can be really challenging things to start and that are offered in a lot of beginner classes out there. And listen, in our shorty, you said something very interesting. I asked if it was possible to showcase an ELDOA movement, but you said it's impossible because there's a copyright aspect to the whole thing.
Yeah.
We love us some drama on this YouTube channel. So what's the story with the copyright?
Yeah, so when I took the course, you sign papers that you will not create any videos or photographic material of ELDOA to instruct people the ELDOA. So the only way that I'm teaching them, and I'm teaching a live class actually tomorrow, Sunday, April 19th, because then I can still see people while they're doing them. So that falls within the like, it's okay for me not to be in the same space as you guys, but you can still practice it. But for me to do a video and show the postures and then people doing them at home, they are hesitant with that because the fascia connects everything to everything. And we're talking also about nerves, organs, like a lot of other bodily systems besides just the muscular and the skeletal system. So if you do it incorrectly, there can be, maybe things can happen that you don't really want to happen.
Right.
Yeah. So your self-awareness or your proprioception, like the knowledge that you know how you're holding your body, is not always as good as we think, and therefore.
So if you're watching this video and you're just like being torn by curiosity of what is this ELDOA? What does it look like? Well, you know, there's this thing out there. It's like, it's search engines. It's, you might type in something, I don't know, and you might find some visual things. I don't know, but oh yes. And Anna is going to show us. And this one you're allowed to show us.
Well, I mean, I'm just showing you. I'm not talking you through it. I'm just going to show a posture. So you don't really know what to do. I mean, if you just sit like this, you're not going to hurt yourself.
Right.
But this is T6, T7. So this is thoracic spine 6, 7. And I'm doing a lot of things here at the same time that maybe are not super apparent, but like I'm really lengthening through my spine. I'm reaching my arms up as high as I can. My buttocks are active. My legs are active. My chin is in. And so you would hold that for 1 minute. And you feel great after.
All right, you should try that.
Or meditation.
Pause this video, people, and give it a try. Put a 1 minute on your timer and do it. That's amazing. So Anna, any closing thoughts or ideas on ELDOA? What does it mean for you personally? What convinced you to do ELDOA training and integrate it within because you're a professional health and wellness instructor? Like what convinced you? What was the it factor? And what would you like to get from it moving on?
The it factor for me was to learn more about, or to understand anatomy from a different perspective. That's kind of what got me into it. And that it falls within the realm of yoga because, again, there are postures. But you can actually teach these to people and make them specifically feel better. Like, I think it's so cool that you can, what I just said, this is T6, T7. It's like your bra strap, your bro strap level. Like we're talking about 2 vertebrae. Like, I don't know any other modality that can go that specifically to any level of the body to create space, which I think is really awesome. And then the whole idea, because it doesn't just end there, as I mentioned before, it adds all these other benefits that are well beyond the spine that go into the body. And so I feel yoga feeds into that, and that feeds back into yoga. However, when I teach an ELDOA class, I incorporate yoga, but I don't really incorporate ELDOA into my yoga classes, because you really have to like take a break and then hold this pose for 1 minute, which doesn't always work that way.
Yeah, and one thing I love about specificity is there's like a proprioception quality to it, where just thinking about an area, a specific area of your body, is creating, a change in your neural pathways. It's muscle memory, it's that visualization practice that a lot of athletes do. So when you highlight a specific part of your body, already there's a strengthening process that begins, and there are benefits to that. So I really like that when systems get specific, not all the time, but sometimes it's a fun thing to explore.
I want to say one more thing.
Yeah.
The first time I did L5 S1, L5 is your lowest lumbar vertebrae, your lowest lower back vertebra, with your sacrum. It's a very popular one because we have a lot of compression at the base of our spine. Mm-hmm. I felt the space, like I was like, oh my God, I can actually feel that I'm growing, that there's length being created. And that was also very awesome.
That's fantastic. All right, folks, if you are interested in trying out ELDOA, I know someone who gives classes online, and that's especially useful now during our quarantine phase that the whole world is going through. So please feel free to check out Anna's website, links below in the description. And if you have any questions, don't be shy. We'll try to answer them to the best of our capacity. And that's it for this week. So Anna, how did you find it on the other side, not being the host?
Good.
Yeah. Do you have a preference?
You're a great host, so it's very easy.
Thank you. It's fun. It's fun to be a YouTube host. All right. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
See you later.